So he won't debate. But he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
In front of a rally crowd of 10,000 people in Georgia last night, Kamala Harris taunted Trump, challenging him to say all the smack talking that he likes to say on the campaign trail to her face. Now, her comments come after Trump's interview with Fox News this week, in which he refused to definitively say he'll debate Kamala Harris, which honestly I think is pretty insane and weak. Let's take a look.
The answer is yes, I'll probably end up debating, but I can also make a case for not doing it. Also, I don't like rewarding fake news. I don't like rewarding the people that have been up. They're going to make tens of millions of dollars with this debate. I don't like ABC. I think it's a terrible, terrible outfit. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich. George Slopadopoulos, as I call him. I don't like it's such. I mean, these are such bad people. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich.
Okay, look, Slopadopoulos is pretty funny, I have to admit. However, pretty weak sauce considering the fact that Donald Trump agreed to do a debate with Joe Biden on ABC, and now suddenly ABC is a problem? Right. Now, he actually gave even more lame excuses during this interview. Let's take a look.
Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
And why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything. She wants to defund our police. She wants no bail. She wants no cash. You kill somebody and we're going to release you immediately. They call it cashless. By the way, this has been a horrible thing for our country. This has been what I just said. But we know where she is. She wants high taxes.
Well, they're going to say you're afraid of debating her. That's what they're going to say.
Well, they said that with Biden, too. You know, I was afraid. I did great with Biden, and I did great in every debate. I've had a lot of debates.
But you're winning on all the issues,
But, you
right?
know, I'm leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I don't know. I hear different numbers. But I'm leading in all of the polls. I'm leading big in all of the swing states.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
I know, but you actually did debate Biden. Like people were saying you'd be afraid to debate Biden, and then you did debate Biden, and it was disastrous for Biden, definitely. But he's gonna argue that the electorate knows everything they need to know about Kamala Harris, who he won't debate, but he did debate the current president of the United States, who what, like the electorate didn't know enough about? Like that argument really makes no sense. Look, in my opinion, he's gonna debate her. I don't know why he's playing this game. I don't know what the strategy is here. It is not making him look good. It's making him look incredibly weak. We'll see how this plays out, but he won't debate her because again, people already know everything they need to know about the vice president as opposed to the current president. Okay. Now, Trump also argued that he's leading big in all of the polls, including in the swing states. But polling does suggest that that might not be the case anymore. So let's go to the latest Bloomberg poll, which found that Kamala Harris has effectively wiped out Trump's lead in some of these battleground states.
In Michigan, the latest Bloomberg Morning Consult poll finds Harris leading Trump by 11 points. That is a major shift in that state. In all 6 other battleground states polled, Harris and Trump are in a statistical tie within the margin of error. Harris leads by 2 points in Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Trump leads Harris by 4 points in Pennsylvania and by 2 points in North Carolina. The candidates, they are running dead even in Georgia.
So look, this is big news. I wanna proceed with caution because it's one poll. I think we'll get a better sense of how well she's performing once we are able to do an average of polls. And guys, I mean, she has now been the presumptive Democratic nominee for a very short period of time. So we need to wait for more polls to come in to have a clearer picture of how she's performing. What's clear to me though is she's obviously performing way better than Biden was. And I do think that this is really throwing the Trump ticket off their game. I mean, it is kind of amazing to me how much they're fumbling on this election now that Harris is the presumptive nominee. Now, overall, the Bloomberg poll also found that Harris was backed by 48% of voters compared to 48% of voters compared to 47% for Trump, which is a statistical dead heat in the swing states that will likely decide November's election. Now, as she continues campaigning, and I do have to give her credit, she's done a really good job with her campaign. She has this confidence and way of speaking now that for some reason she was having difficulty with when she was just merely VP rather than VP and a presumptive nominee for the general election. And so I'm happy to see that. She's got like this confidence that is just good to see. Let's just put it that way. Now, again, that's a stronger showing than the 2-point deficit for President Joe Biden before he dropped out of the race. So just to do that comparison, obviously Kamala Harris is a better candidate, a more competitive candidate to run up against Donald Trump. Now, the survey also shows newfound enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket since Biden dropped out. So more than 1/3 of voters in the 7 battleground states said that they're much more likely to vote now that the contest is between Trump and Harris. And the numbers rose to 49% and 44% among Black and Hispanic voters, respectively. Now, remember, Biden was really struggling with those demographics. And it wasn't that they were gonna vote for Trump necessarily, but there was a concern that they weren't gonna show up to vote for Biden. And so the enthusiasm is important, and it could really go a long way in helping Kamala, clench this election. And then there's an AP NORC poll that found that about 8 in 10 Democrats say they would be somewhat or very satisfied if Harris became the Democratic nominee for president. By comparison, only about 4 in 10 Democrats were satisfied with Biden being the nominee. And while Trump still polls, much better when it comes to the economy, it also turns out that his lead in that area is narrowing. Trump has an 8 percentage point edge over Harris on the question of who's trusted more on the economy, down from the 14-point advantage he held over Biden early this month. But it's important that you don't underestimate your opponent and don't get overconfident, right? So most averages of polls still have Trump coming out ahead in November, and that includes the Real Clear polling, which gives Trump a 1.5 point lead if third-party challengers are taken into consideration. That's what you're looking at here. So it indicates that Trump has 44.6%, Kamala Harris has 43.1%. Kennedy remaining in the race is potentially hurting her, but we don't know for sure yet. But look, it's still somewhat early because Kamala Harris hasn't really been the presumptive Democratic nominee for that long. It really depends on how the campaigning moves forward and whether or not Donald Trump can kind of turn the messaging around. As I mentioned on the show earlier this week, right now the Trump-Vance ticket seems to be playing defense. And they do seem to have been caught flat-footed. I don't think they expected Kamala Harris to be the presumptive Democratic nominee. And so they're trying to kind of catch up and go back to where I think Trump usually shines, which is playing offense. There's really no telling if he's gonna get there, but we'll see.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.